these six kinds of events, six kinds of ways to almost sort of compartmentalize when you're feeling rejected. It can come from events such as criticism, betrayal, active dissociation, like for example, a breakup, passive dissociation, like being excluded, being unappreciated, and being teased. So one-sided relationships, fizzling friendships, being left out of workplace cliques are all painful experiences, especially nowadays where we're in such global unrest and uncertainty. People who are rejected often experience other emotions that are not reactions to the rejection itself, but reactions to the nature or implications of the event. So let me give you an example of what I mean by that. Sadness might be triggered when rejection produces a sense of loss, and anger when they feel unjustified. So the anger comes along almost like a byproduct of the sadness. So why does rejection hurt so much? To understand this, I always really love helping my clients understand the physiological sense of things, the science behind things, because it can help kind of simmer down the charge and the power behind some of the things that we're feeling. So for example, feeling rejected can really sting. It can really hurt, right? So that's because we're biologically wired to fear rejection. So talking about this on a physiological level, a biological level, the emotional response to rejection is huge because it's one of our deepest human fears. Rejection can also mean change, and the brain does not like change because of the uncertainty that this brings. Our intense response goes back to the days, if you think about way back, right, in primitive days, humans were dependent on their tribe for survival, shelter, warmth, food, safety, community. So the brain's job is to keep us safe on this planet for as long as possible, right? That's the very basic function of that. So way back in the hunter-gatherer days, being rejected by the tribe would more than likely prove fatal because we were unlikely to survive outside of it. So our brains cannot distinguish between a real or perceived threat. And that's why our emotional response to rejection is so acute. You'll find yourself feeling like it's almost dysregulating your nervous system. I'll give you a little bit of a personal example just to kind of help relate to this, right? This is not about me though, this is about you. So if I am stressed out, like if I'm overwhelmed or stressed out by a job, right? Let's say that I was really hoping that I was going to get this promotion and I don't get it. For me, it affects my appetite, right? I eat a little bit less, and I'm already so thin as it is naturally. Some people will eat more. It'll affect your sleep. It'll affect different things. You'll notice you'll feel a bit off. So it does affect our nervous system. We are biologically wired to belong, to be accepted, to be wanted. It relates back to those survival periods of our evolution, and we rely on social groups for our survival. If you're ever familiar, if you've ever heard of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, if you Google that and look that up, there's this idea of we have this hierarchy of needs. It's almost like the form of a triangle. And what he does, this theorist, the idea is that the basis of the triangle, which is our basic foundations or needs, things like shelter, right? Food, water, those are basic needs. Those are things that are in the hierarchy of needs. Those things really need to be met. At the very top of the hierarchy are things like self-actualization, right? Because now we've gone beyond those other needs. So if you think about it, one part of those basic needs includes a sense of belonging. So if we're talking basic biological needs, we have just intrinsically this desire to belong, this want to belong. So now that we've talked about, by the way, I just want to mention, people don't need to be actually rejected to have the subjective experience of rejection. So for example, even though I'll give you an example when it comes to romantic partners. If you are in a romantic relationship, we may know that our romantic partners accept and love us. That doesn't mean that they won't unintentionally make us feel rejected. They can unintentionally make us feel rejected and hurt our feelings in certain situations. All right, so now that we've talked about that, I want to wrap us up because we have about 3 minutes left, right? This is why I have to stay on topic and I have to have notes. Otherwise, I can go on and on and on and on about this. So let's talk about how do we deal with these emotions? How do we deal with the rejection? Rejection can happen in all areas of our life, right? When you don't get that partner, you keep the job or earn the validation. When you don't get the partner, or you don't keep the job, or you don't earn the validation that you deserve, the list is endless. However, that doesn't mean that we have to be at the mercy of those emotions. Some key practices that can help mitigate some of these feelings of inclusion, I want to mention, and I really want to emphasize this, that it is important, so important, to connect with the people, your support system. Connect with those who appreciate and love you, to remind you that you are good enough, you are worthy enough, you are lovable enough. Again, this is not about me, this is about you, but I'm just bringing this up as an example. Going through the turmoil of my last relationship and the breakup, especially because it was psychologically abusive, really messed with my head, right? It's physical abuse, in my opinion, is a bit different, because I feel like when a woman gets a black eye, right? Let's say she gets punched in the face, you see that black eye. It's pretty black and white, physical abuse. Emotional, psychological abuse can really have you feeling like, am I crazy? Did I do something wrong, right? So coming out of a dynamic like that can feel really rejecting. It can feel really like, well, what did I do wrong? Is there something wrong with me? Maybe I'm not worthy of love. And I tell this to every person I speak to, one of the biggest factors in expediting my healing to the point that I am where I am now after dealing what I dealt with was my support, is to this day still my support system. Surrounding ourselves with people who truly care about us, who recognize us, who value us, who respect us, help remind us, right? So maybe we're feeling down here and the rejection is consuming us, and this is where it has this feeling. When we surround ourselves with people that care about us, we go from feeling like this to then like improved health, improved mental health, improved emotional health. Because what's happening is we're allowing love, we're allowing people to take care of us, we're allowing people to help support us and bring us back up. So I can't stress that enough, how important it is to have a strong support system, connect with people who do remind you that you are good enough. Engaging in personal development will also boost your confidence. It creates a more positive mindset. Think about what changes you want to make and explore what's really behind your feelings. If it's loneliness, try prioritizing strengthening your friendships. Another thing I like to tell people is observe and name what you're feeling. Now, this takes practice and it takes baby steps, but really just identifying what it is that you're feeling. So when you get a rejection or feedback, try to name those emotions and simply observe what you're feeling and allow it. If you're feeling frustrated, allow yourself to be frustrated. If you're feeling angry, if you're feeling hurt, allow yourself to feel those feelings rather than trying to push those feelings away. All right. So with all of that said, overall, remember that rejection happens to everyone, myself included, everyone.